Hey folks, welcome to the Wrench Turners podcast, Coach's Corner. The goal for Coach's Corner is to help mechanics and service leaders understand from every angle and learn from every angle that isn't technical how to improve the happiness, healthiness, or productivity of mechanics and service leaders. On today's episode, we're gonna dissect some information that I've used in coaching up until this point over the last year and change. But I'm going to get a little bit more detailed with it. We do a bit of a screen share here, folks. One of my recent folks coming on board, perhaps here for coaching, has prompted with some questions that have led to the title that got you in here. Labor mix is a thing. Understanding labor mix, hours per day, hours per RO, productivity, how it affects, so on and so forth, is all very important to understand as a technician. And so far, technicians that have come into coaching with me haven't understand the majority of it. It's difficult to explain how important it is. And the only way that you're really going to be able to track it is if you journal. So if you're not journaling, this is going to be hard for you to figure out. It's going to be very hard for you to figure out because most service leaders of the coachees that I've had thus far have not been very forthcoming of this information in reporting. Typically, that speaks volumes about the shops that they're running and why those particular mechanics are coming to me for help in how to make more money. Again, one of the mantras of Just Work Hard Consulting and Wrench Turners is more specifically to try and keep technicians happy, healthy, and productive at the shop they're at. I am not going out of my way to try and move technicians from one shop to another. More importantly, I'm trying to improve the technician so that they can make more money for themselves in the environment they're in and help them improve the environment they're in. However, as the 80-20 rule exists, leaders come and go, great leaders come and go, high-value leaders are far and few between. The only way to truly make some very good money in this industry, short, medium, and long term, is to find yourself a very high-value leader and stick to them like glue, because they will coach you, they will train you, they will mentor you, they will give you all the tools and resources, and I don't mean the literal tools, but the tools and resources that you need as a mechanic to succeed in this business. And not just succeed way beyond what you expect. There are some high-value leaders out there with technicians teams that are averaging an income so significantly more than the rest that is unbelievable. And some of that will kind of be highlighted in this episode. So let's get into it. So what you have in front of you right now, you have days, hours worked, total worked hours, and for this set of roughly 9 technicians is the number of CP hours that these technicians produced in that time frame. These are actual CP hours from actual technicians that are out there in the world that I have either talked directly to, indirectly talked to, coached, or so forth. So these are real world mixes. Now it's going to be slightly different because I have tried to reduce the amount of variables to make the understanding easier. Okay, because if I put the full on hardcore numbers in there, it's all out of whack and it's very difficult to contextualize. So I've tried to simplify, and yes, there are some zero numbers there, as you see at the beginning: 22, 9, and 198. Okay, I think those are the only variables that I have removed the variableness in. All right, so here we have CP. Now, if you're listening to this for the first time and you happen to be a younger technician, and I don't necessarily mean an age, but if you are younger in the trade and you don't understand what CP means customer pay. Let's go to the next column. Let's do this quickly. WP, warranty pay. Okay, we've added another layer. So first on the list here, number 2, made 140 hours, point 0.6 CP, and 10.7 hours warranty pay. Okay. The other one down at the bottom there made 289 CP hours and 9 hours warranty pay. There's a significant difference between those two. And believe me when I say both of those were accomplished in a month, 22 days, 22 working days. They both averaged roughly 9 hours. The top and the bottom. You see how different that is? Okay. Let's go on to the next slide as it were. Okay. Go to black. IP, internal pay. You know what internal pay is. You're talking about PDIs and safeties and stuff. Okay. You see something a little different just happened. Internal pay on the top technician there and on the number 2 row, 21.9 hours. It's a whole lot of internal pay and not necessarily a whole lot of CP pay. And the person at the bottom at 289 CP hours only did point 0.2 of internal work. Starting to think about it. Okay, let's get our total. Okay, let's get our total. Total build hours. So these would theoretically be the hours that the individual technician is billing the service department to put on their paycheck in flat rate. So the person at the bottom here, 173 total hours, 173.2. And the person at the top, as it were, 299.3 hours billed in a month. 22 days billed in a month. You see where this is going? Okay, let's go another step further. Here's our customer pay penetration rate. The number of hours that they billed in customer pay versus the total number of hours. Okay? 81% at the bottom. 81%. You see the person at the top, 96.79%. You see a fairly large disparity between the two, about 15% more CP work. Now, there's other factors in this 289, which we don't have access to that information right now, but we can infer based on the continued progression of the information presenting here. We're going to do the same for the next two, show you what they are. Our warranty penetration, we got only 6% at the bottom, and 3% of them. We got some big hefty ones here in the middle. 17% warranty penetration right in the middle. That's interesting. Wonder how that's going to affect things as we go forward. Then we've got our internal penetration. Let's see how that goes. That's interesting. Now let's get a combined number here. What does a combined IPWP look like, and how does that affect things? Oh, there we go. We got a whole lot of internal and warranty pay work mix. Let's see that 18% at the bottom, so to speak, and 3.2 at the top. I wonder what that's going to do to the next series of things that happens. Okay, let's spread that out, and hopefully let's hopefully that picture shows up nice and neat for you on the screen, because I'm just kind of screwing around with this thing. And let's see here. Hours per day. That's starting to paint another picture, isn't it? We got disparity. You got 7.8 down at the bottom, so they're not even making 8 hours a day. They're not even making their hours in. They're not even making 9 hours a day. Guy at the bottom here, 13.6, is making a whole lot on his day. What does that look like when we calculate it out? Let's have a look. Make it easy. So let's see what their flat rate pay is. Let's calculate some more stuff as we go forward. So that we're assuming everybody's making $30 an hour. Now we can screw around with this and we can play with it all we want, but we don't want to do that, right? We want to look at the whole picture as best as we can, so that when we look at these things, the variables are fewer and we get a better picture. Okay. Some folks haven't done this, and everybody in my coaching, Everybody in my coaching tells me they've never done this, they've never written this stuff down. This is why I tell you folks to journal over and over and over and over again. Journal, 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 journal. Let's see. Now we've identified already before, but we wanted to get a productivity percentage because service managers and fixed operations directors get this information. They look at this information on a regular basis. Many technicians, perhaps not you that are watching, but many of your brothers and sisters in the trade do not know how to calculate this number. Productivity, number of hours billed versus the hours worked. Okay, you can see the sum. You can see the little formula there up in the top left corner. Sum, right? It's an easy calculation to do. Now, there's lots of factors that go into that. Yes, but primarily speaking, this is what your service manager is looking at when they look at productivity. Okay, we got an 87.7% productivity on their day versus 151 down here at our bottom. Somebody who is absolutely crushing their day. Now, pretty hard not to when they've got so much CP work they don't know what to do with it. But at the same time, there is a gentleman out there, and I do believe he's a gentleman. I could be a lady, but I doubt very much by the name that I have in the background of this individual. This gentleman is at a shop that is absolutely crushing the sales in CP. Absolutely crushing the sales in CP because there's a whole nother layer that I can add to this. This is the number of tickets that each individual technician works on. And we calculate that the number of hours that a technician makes per work order. It should be in line with the advisor's hours per hour. And if it's not, you've got a problem. Now, each individual technician will have different hours per hour based on their productivity. It's going to affect, and it also will affect by their labor mix, whether they've got lots of warranty pay or they've got lots of CP pay, and vice versa. As you see how much different things can happen when you talk about CP penetration, your warranty penetration, your internal penetration. These things matter. If I'm going too fast, start at the beginning and watch it again or slow it down. You can move that little slider on YouTube to 0.8 speed, I believe, or even 0.6 speed, or you can speed it up if I'm not talking fast enough for you. Move 1.5, I think you can go all the way up to 2x. So use those features if you need to do it. Go back and listen to it again if you need to. Okay. Next, on the column here that we need to show, at $30 an hour, same $30 an hour at the top, same $30 an hour at the bottom. Look at the difference in productivity and work mix makes. We have someone that is, well, making a decent paycheck and someone who's making a very, very good paycheck. Well, what does that look like on a year? What does that look like on a year? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Can't say it enough. For those of you that are attempting to follow along on Spotify, I apologize if you're just listening, but the disparity between the individual at 87% productivity and the individual at 151% productivity is $45,000 a year. The delta between them is $45,000 a year. So when leadership comes to you and says you need to make more hours and that's how you give yourself a raise, they're not lying. It's a cop out to some degree, but they're not lying. This quite plainly from these technicians that you have in front of you that you can see. They are a testament to say that as you go up in productivity, and we've got a fairly linear progression here, all the way from 87% all the way up to 151%. Now we've got a little bit of jump in there. I didn't put one in there because I've got another couple more that I could put in there. I got nobody in there at 130, nobody in there at 120, so you can see the linear progression in there. But here's your disparity. It's the same dollars per hour, same flat rate pay at $30 an hour. So if you want to look at your time, you want to look at your whatever, and you're whining about warranty, completely convoluting and disrupting and confusing and absolute bullshit nonsense, blah 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 about warranty time, look at your labor mix. Let me tell you, if you call me up, you DM me, you email me, and say I'm getting fucked around by warranty time, and we do a labor mix dissection, and I see you not here, because this is what I would expect to see. I would expect to see 17, 20% warranty. If you're getting screwed by warranty, it's got to be 17, 20, 25% or better warranty pay. If you're down here at 7%, if you're down here at 7%, or you're down here more specifically, and this is the highlight here. This is the folks that regularly come to me and say warranty is screwing me. I got a 5%, 6% warranty penetration, and they're still only 90% product. Like, folks, 87% warranty or penetration. 87%. There is absolutely no reason that at 87% you should be hitting 90% productivity. There's no reason. That's on you. Now, conversely, the gentleman right here who has a 12.6 internal, that's a different question. How is it someone is getting internal work but is still not productive? What is happening in the internal process that is taking so long that's affecting the CP percentage? Now, I understand. I understand that this could be the individual as well. Service leaders that are watching, I understand that this could be the individual as well. But when I see 12.6.4 IP penetration on their total hours and their productivity is completely in the shitter, we have to ask, is there something wrong with the internal process that's causing delays and delays and delays so that they can't produce? That's some of the questions that you can understand and ascertain by developing out and writing out these numbers that you can plug your technicians into these kinds of calculations. Go, hey, I should not be harping on tech number 2 here. He's 20% of his work is absolutely convoluted, complicated, and challenging. 20%. Like, well, we'll call it what it is. 18.8, 18%, 18.8% of his work. So basically 1 in 6 cars is an absolute challenge that he doesn't have a choice, that he or she doesn't have any say in. Or every work order has something challenging on it. It has 6 lines on every work order, and one of those 6 is a challenge, a real challenge. Now, again, could be the individual. Technicians, you could be the problem. You need to self-reflect and you need to understand better how your work mix is affecting your productivity. And this leads to the questions that we've answered in previous episodes. Get out your journal, write down the work order number of hours that were on the work order when it came into the stall, the number of hours that you upsold or tried to upsell, and then the number of hours that were actually sold from your upsell. And write down the service advisor and keep a track of that. Because then you can find out which service advisor sells, which service advisor doesn't. You can see how many of the hours that you're upselling is being sold or not, their closing ratios. You can check that out. Because if you find that for some reason, maybe you happen to be a black sheep in the shop for whatever reason, it could be you. But if you're a black sheep in the shop and all the advisors are shortchanging you, but more specifically, what if only one advisor shortchanged you? Every one of the work orders that you get on, they don't sell any of your work. That's something you bring up to your leadership. It's like, hey, Bob and Jane sell all of my work every single time. So I've tracked it for the last 4 weeks, and Bob and Jane sell all of my work. But Steve doesn't sell any of my work ever. These are the work orders of Steve's. And this is what I've upsold on Steve's work orders, but he doesn't come back with anything. And unfortunately, Steve's work orders also come with 6 lines of warranty every single time they come into the shop. Maybe it's just to me. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but this is what I'm tracking. I want to understand better, because if I'm doing just Steve's work orders and Steve work orders aren't getting upsells because I'm doing my MPIs and I'm doing my walkarounds and I'm writing everything down and I'm communicating as clearly as I can to the customers, and I'm still not selling work on his work orders and they're all warranty, that's affecting my bottom line. How can I help improve? How can I help improve? So, technicians, if you had difficulty listening to that, please watch it again, listen to it again. If you have questions, please, 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 please reach out. Leader at justworkhard.com. Find me on LinkedIn, Mr. Joshua Taylor. Mr. J. Taylor, I believe, is actually the LinkedIn name. If you linkedin.com/MRJ Taylor, Taylor. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Threads. My God, you can find me on Threads. This is stuff I live for this. I want to help you guys as much as humanly possible. This is detailed. This might be a little bit overwhelming, but this is what service managers, especially great service managers, look at every day. They look at the numbers every day and they try and dissect it to understand so that they can teach you or they can improvise or improve a process to help you make more money. And if they're not looking at these things, they're not helping you make more money. That's when we need to find you a better environment. Now, that said, there are a lot of environments out there that aren't any better. And it is far better for you to improve yourself, your processes, and the environment that you control around you. So you can go from perhaps you're an 87% productivity person to 151% productivity person while making the same amount of money per hour. Thank you for listening to the Wrench Turners podcast, Coach's Corner on a Saturday. I appreciate you. Appreciate you for listening and watching. For those that have got all the way through the episode and still have questions, please reach out. Like I said, please reach out by email, leader@justworkhard.com. Whether you're a leader yourself or a technician or a young apprentice trying to learn some more, by all means, I am an open book. Right? Reach out. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to support the community as best as I possibly can, as much as I possibly can. If I don't know the answer, I'll find it. If you need help and I can't give it, I will hopefully try and find you someone who can. Remember that negative pushes, positive pulls, and always clean your toys before you put them away.